Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Beast Stalker, a Hong Kong thriller from 2008 that was directed by Dante Lam, a man who has directed a number of very impressive films. Now I'm going to keep the plot synopsis here as vague as possible, because there are some surprises that occur early on in the film that I do not want to spoil for you. So this film begins with a hard-nosed police officer, played by Nicholas Tse, who runs into a wanted criminal, so he pursues him with his fellow officers. Now the problem is that there is some serious fallout related to this chase sequence, and that fallout is what drives the rest of the film. So years later, a prosecutor, played by Jingchu Zhang, is rattled when her daughter is kidnapped, and the kidnappers demand that she manipulate evidence to get a criminal off the hook for his crimes. So Nicholas Tse's character does everything in his power to find and save the little girl. A fairly formulaic premise, but this film overpowers that possible flaw with its sheer intensity. This is a thriller through and through, from the opening scene to the finale. Now that doesn't mean that this is non-stop action. Yes, you are going to get multiple highlights of white-knuckled suspense and thrills, but what I mean by thriller through and through is that the intensity is sustained through the dramatic moments that fill that time in between the thrills. So Beast Stalker adds a lot of color and development to the main characters, and that includes the kidnapper, who is played brilliantly by Nick Cheung. And this is another man who has been in a number of very fine films in recent memory and has given a number of very fine performances. And Beast Stalker, I would have to say, is probably the first film where he really stood out to me. This film does take its time to show the kidnapper's struggle to care for his paralyzed wife, which adds a multidimensionality to his character. But at the same time, when he has to crack down on the girl that he kidnapped, if she does something he doesn't want him to do or she's misbehaving, he does what he has to do to serve his contractor. Now, this isn't a criminal with like a heart of gold or anything, because he's more than willing to kill this girl if necessary, even if he would, prefer not to, but he's still willing to kill her if push comes to shove. And that kind of interaction kind of helps to keep the intensity at an elevated level from start to finish, even when there's not a thriller sequence happening, so to speak. Now, in terms of the thriller highlights, there are a few cool scenes early on, a very good foot chase sequence, one of the coolest and most painful-looking car collisions in recent memory, as well as an edgy finale that's quite frightening at times, actually. This movie gets intense, but it's not particularly gory. It does not have graphic violence at all, from what I remember, but people do get messed up in it, and the mood is decisively gritty. Also, the little girl is one of the cutest things you'll ever see, but they put her through the ringer in this one, so she's in legitimate danger at certain points in this film. The character is, not the actress. And it's always nice to see when filmmakers are willing to go that far, to really make you believe that this character could get offed. Now, one interesting aspect of Beast Stalker is that it has a sister movie that came out 2 years later called The Stool Pigeon. Now, I see these films as siblings because they are both thrillers, are both directed by Dante Lam, both have the same scriptwriter, and both have the same lead actors, Nicholas Tse and Nick Cheung. However, they swap roles in The Stool Pigeon, with Cheung playing the lead protagonist. Now, if that sounds a little bit familiar to you, it should, because Hong Jin-na did the same thing, the South Korean director, when he made The Chaser and The Yellow Sea, which came out during the same years, 2008 and 2010. So you have these two pairs of movies that came out at the same time that have certain similarities. So it's pretty cool. Anybody who's interested in thrillers should watch all four of these movies. So, again, if you're a fan of thrillers, you should check these out if you have not seen them. They're very entertaining, and I will be reviewing The Stool Pigeon in the very near future, so look out for that review. But in terms of availability, Beast Stalker is moderately available on DVD. It used to be widely available, but I think it's only moderate now, because I think Tai Seng used to be the distributor on those, and they went bankrupt years ago. So if you haven't seen it, pick up a copy. I think you'll be happy. And as always, I will see you next time.